Did you know that at one point, Polaroid's instant cameras and film accounted for over 20% of the total US film market? But the company that once dominated instant photography eventually declared bankruptcy in 2001. What happened? Welcome to Business Model Hackers, where we explore business strategy and management tools through case studies. Now, each week we examine real-world applications of concepts and principles and frameworks using case studies from research and our team's engagements. To protect confidentiality, though, some details might be altered, but the lessons will remain authentic. So get ready to uncover insights behind influential business decisions. Now, in today's episode, we'll dive into the story of Polaroid, the pioneering instant photography company that was slow to adapt to the digital revolution. We'll explore the challenges Polaroid faced, the decisions they made, and how the principles from Business Model Hackers Manifesto could have potentially changed their trajectory. Sam, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. And I can't wait to discuss Polaroid with you. It's something we were talking about just as an interesting company. And I was wondering if you could tell me what makes Polaroid such a fascinating case study.
Polaroid is a prime example of how even the most innovative companies can falter if they fail to maintain optionality in the face of market shifts and discontinuities. Their story provides valuable lessons on the importance of strategic adaptation.
Now, why don't we start with a little bit of background? What made Polaroid such a significant player in its field?
Absolutely. Polaroid was founded in 1937 by Edwin Land, originally focused on polarized technology. But their big breakthrough came in 1948 with the introduction of the first instant camera. So Polaroid's ability to deliver a finished photograph in just 60 seconds was revolutionary at the time. Through continuous innovation in instant cameras and film, Polaroid later dominated the instant photography market for decades. At their peaks in the 1960s and early 70s, Polaroid cameras accounted for about 20% of the US film market and 15% of camera sales. Land's innovative vision and Polaroid's extensive patent portfolio made their position seem unassailable.
Now, Polaroid was riding high for many years. So what changed? What were the key challenges that started to emerge for the company?
There were several factors that started to dull on Polaroid's competitive edge. Starting in the 1980s, the company diversified into areas like digital imaging, medical imaging, and consumer electronics, but many of these initiatives yielded unremarkable results. External threats emerged, like the rise of one-hour photo processing labs, and then digital photography in the 1990s, which eroded the speed advantage of instant photography. There were also internal issues like financial toll of fighting off a hostile takeover attempt and slow response by management to adapt the company to the evolving competitive landscape. So instead of leading with fresh innovations, Polaroid found itself retooling old inventions and playing catch up to competitors. So they stifled its optionality and left it exposed to disruption.
So, from a natural fractal unit portfolio perspective, it sounds like Polaroid went from being a growth stock that was continuously expanding its market to a struggling annuity that was overly dependent on its mature instant film business.
Exactly. Polaroid lost the diverse portfolio and adaptability that optionality requires. Its once innovative culture ossified, and it missed the opportunities to reinvent itself for the digital age.
So then, faced with these mounting challenges, what path did Polaroid ultimately choose?
So Polaroid made efforts to expand into new areas like digital cameras, but its heart was still in the instant film business. Even in the late 1990s, as digital cameras were taken off, Polaroid remained committed to its long instant camera and film. So management believed that people still wanted print photos and that instant film's high profit margins were essential to Polaroid's business model. But this attachment to film caused Polaroid to underestimate the digital threat. So Polaroid did release its own digital cameras, but they were late to market and couldn't match competitors' price or features. So ultimately, saddled with debt from the takeover fight and with its core business in decline, Polaroid was forced to declare bankruptcy in 2001.
Looking at Polaroid's story through the lens of optionalities, what could the company have done differently to secure a better outcome?
Well, I see few obvious areas where Polaroid could have applied the principles of optionality to improve their odds. They could have treated digital imaging as real option and instant photography as a cash cow. So, the relationship of the cash cow used to fund new innovation and scale them rather than clinging on to it as their core business in the face of obvious market shifts. The other thing is, rather than defending instant films, Polaroid could have more aggressively explored the potential of digital photography and transformational opportunity. Polaroid actually had early patents in digital imaging, but failed to capitalize on them. Polaroid had promising early research into digital technology. Had they committed to those new growth paths sooner, while they still had market leadership, they could have shaped the digital revolution. Lastly, they could have adopted a barbell strategy for their portfolio. So they could have maintained their instant film business as a cash-generating annuity on one end, while making bold bets, breakthrough innovation as options on the other end, with digital imaging as their top candidate. And lastly, they could embrace discontinuity. Instead of incremental improvements to instant cameras, they needed to proactively seek out disruptive ideas to leapfrog the competition. Polaroid's brand and expertise in instant could have been leveraged to shape the digital instant gratification consumers now expect. And one more thing is the acquisition at scale in digital capabilities. So Polaroids could have used partnership and acquisitions to rapidly build up its digital competencies rather than trying to develop them all internally.
Yeah, that's interesting. By applying these optionality principles, Polaroid may have been able to reinvent itself in the digital era rather than remaining locked in some analog business model.
Precisely. Optionality is about creating a diverse set of alternatives and being adaptable. Polaroid needed that diversity and flexibility as technologies and consumer behavior shifted.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today, Sam. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this discussion, be sure to check out the book Optionalities for more strategies on thriving amid uncertainty. And join us next time as we explore another fascinating case of optionality in action.